I think this is the soonest we've started recording after the start of our phone call. Like, normally there's a bit of preamble and stuff, but we've just gone, all right, I'm ready. Are you ready? Let's go.
The thing is, I think there's so much good material that's like lost. We're incredibly witty early in the phone call, and the later we start recording, the poorer the product that the fans receive.
Is that your way of saying that for the last 50 or so episodes, we're sorry, but all the good stuff was the stuff we didn't record?
That's right. I'd like that impression to be out there anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, my favourite podcast is called the Unmade podcast. The podcast isn't that good, but apparently what they talk about before they record is awesome.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We've reached the stage where, like those bands where, once upon a time a band went into the studio and they recorded the song they'd written, but now bands like, Metallica and U2, they're just recording all the time and they're playing and just in case there's a little snippet of something.
Yeah.
So I think we should just record our entire lives in case something gets caught that we're like, oh, we can edit that in later on.
We can release just like raw material as well to like the super fans.
That's right.
Of just us jamming. Because we are podcast jammers, aren't we? Like, we're just jamming most of the time. We're not actually recording proper podcasts like other podcasters. We're just like jamming.
I do actually think about the 25 or 7 years or whatever of our friendship and how much good material like has just occurred in cars.
The worst thing about doing a podcast, though, is now whenever we like just have a chat or a text and something funny happens, it's like, oh, that would have been good on the podcast. What a shame.
That's right.
What a shame it was wasted in our friendship.
That's right. Just wasted on our friendship. That's right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can't go back. You can't use it again because the person. This is a real secret. You are the most satisfying person to make laugh in my life. Like I love hearing my family laugh. Of course, it's a totally different kind of joy. But making you really laugh at something is kind of what I live for and have like our whole lives. So it's just.
Would you say making me laugh is more important to you than the birth of your children?
Well, it's hard to compare them on air. I mean, I'd have to just make a few notes and think about it for a little bit. Oh, dear.
Your wife's like, Tim, come in quickly. I'm having our child. And you're like, I can't. I'm trying to make a joke for Brady.
That's right. I'm just being sarcastic about this joyful event on my text message. It's like, get that phone out of here. Oh, dear.
Well, let's see how we do today. Let's see how we jam today.
Yo. You are definitely going first. You are.
Am I?
Well, after the debacle of the last episode, you are definitely going first. You've got to get us off to a strong start.
Well, my idea today is based on a little text exchange that you and I had recently.
Oh.
So those of you who are observant listeners will know that in Tim's other life, he is a minister in a church.
That's right.
He messaged me the other day because he's doing a bit of work at the church, obviously a bit of a redesign of some sort, a bit of a spruce up, and he was getting himself a new lectern for the front stage, or I don't know. I prefer to call it a pulpit.
Pulpit,
that's a bit old-fashioned, I guess. Yeah, but it's like quite a modern lectern. And Tim sent me a couple of pictures of ones that he was considering, just like for my opinion. What could you think of this color? What do you think of this design? And that gave me the idea for a podcast. And this podcast is called Tools of the Trade, when guests come on and just talk about like the physical items they need for their job that you might never even think about. Like I would never think about the design of a lectern for someone to stand behind while they're talking. But suddenly you had me thinking about it. Oh, what's a good design? What looks good? What suits the building? Why is this good or bad? And I think everyone in almost every job must have these tools of the trade that they use, that they're really into and know lots about, and you would never otherwise think about. And I'd love to hear more and more about it.
That's a really good idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It is funny because it's so niche, but it makes it an enormous amount of sense for the person in the job. Like it's like I've got, I don't know, because I work at a college in academia and so forth. So there's about 1,000 books, and people walk into my office and say, "Whoa, look at all those books," and they think of it in terms of, well, you just go out and buy a book like you would at home with other books. But of course, they're just like, you don't go into a painter's van and go, "Whoa, look at all these paintbrushes." But it's like, of course he's got lots of paintbrushes, lots of paint. It's just the thing you use. You know what I mean? Like it's... Yeah.
Look at all my cameras. I have a lot of cameras.
That's right. You've said that. You go traveling and you take, what would it be? Is it more than 5 cameras with you? What would you...
If I'm travelling just in the UK, like if I'm travelling just to Nottingham, so I don't have to go on a plane, let me see what I can just see right now. I can potentially take 3 to 4 GoPros, a thermal imaging camera, a high-speed camera, my normal proper filming camera, and maybe 2 DSLR cameras.
Wow, look at that.
Couple of tripods, all sorts of magic arms and things to hold them with. Different lights, yeah, and for me, that's just all the. Can I ask you another tool of the trade question? Because I was thinking about your lectern in the car on the way home, and then it made me think about something else. Like, obviously, you have multiple Bibles, but when you go up in front of the church and preach, I imagine most of the time you have like a Bible with you. And I'm just wondering how you pick your Bible, because to me, your Bible is a bit like your lightsaber. And I'm wondering how you, like, is it one that was given to you by your father, like Luke Skywalker, or is it like is your like main Bible, like your number one Bible, your on your person lightsaber Bible? Has that got a cool story, or is it just one you bought at the bookstore?
That's a really great question. I've got at my office, I have about 10 Bibles.
Yeah.
And some are sentimental because they belong to my father and that sort of thing. Others are just old, ones I've had for years. But Bibles come in different translations.
I want to know about your lightsaber Bible. What's the one, like your main weapon, like your one you take into battle?
All right. I have two.
Is that like, what's his name? Is that like Darth Maul and it comes out like both ways?
That's right.
Double lightsaber. Okay.
I'm just turning around to see if I have it here. Yes.
I may have opened a can of worms here.
There it is. I've just been moving things because I've got 2 offices now in between them. I have 2 Bibles. Yeah. Honestly, there's one that I've had that's really sentimental. I've had since I was 16.
Yeah.
And there's another one which is just a version of which there's hundreds of them laying around. Like there's some just laying around the church pews, and there's just many in the office, and that's
and you've just got one of them.
That's the one I use for everything, pretty much, because it's the one with inclusive language. It's the one that's most academically accepted and rigorous, and that's just the one you use.
Okay.
There's another one
and
here,
you just got that, and you just picked that up at random from a big pile of Bibles. It wasn't like one that was, given to you by some, hermit in the desert of Tatooine or something.
No, that's right. It actually rotates around. Like I might be using one here, and then I'll walk over to the church and I'll forget it, and so I'll bring back another one. And yeah, I mean, there's one here, but I don't even have my name in it, right? Yeah,
disappointing story.
No. But there's this other one here, which is I am quite sentimental about, and it has gaffer tape like holding it together, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's more like it. More like it.
So the back cover has gone totally, so it's just soft on the back. The front cover is...
Does that mean you don't know how the Bible ends?
That's right. It's where the maps are, so it's okay. I've seen the ending.
You just don't know where it happened.
Yeah, that's right. The front cover has a Midnight Oil sticker on it, the rock band Midnight Oil.
Nice.
Which... Yeah. And inside it says, presented to Timothy James Hine by Mum and Dad on the 28th of April, 1990. So there you go.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
And what do you actually use that one for? Will you ever have that one up out the front on the pulpit when you're reading things, or
no?
Like, will you use that if you like take an oath of office or something? Like, what does that one get used for?
This one for devotional reading in my office. Like if I'm reading the Bible, but usually to compare. So I default to the other one, and then I go, I wonder what the NIV translation, just a slightly different translation from the Hebrew and the Greek. I wonder what they say, and I go and have a look. But this one, I would never get rid of it because it's the one with, there are little notes and pieces of paper inside it and all sorts of cool stuff.
Why has it got a Midnight Oil sticker on the front? Have you ever had to explain that to someone?
It doesn't say Midnight Oil. It's actually a picture of a piranha fish because that was on the cover of one of their albums. and they gave away free stickers. And I thought, that's a cool fish sticker. You know, the fish is like a traditional Christian symbol, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I thought that's a pretty cool looking one, so that's why it's there. It's nearly faded away now. I'll have to send you a photo of this.
So if you were like meeting the Pope or someone and you were going to get him to sign your Bible, is that the one you'd get him to sign?
I wouldn't get the Pope to sign my Bible.
Oh.
I would...
I totally would.
I've heard of this phenomena, actually, of getting people to sign Bibles, like when they meet a preacher or a minister that's been a big influence. And I have to say, there are a couple of people that I deeply admire that I'd love to meet, and I've met a couple of them, but I didn't get an autograph. You just...
Yeah.
No. And signing a Bible seems strange and wrong.
Yeah, I hear you. Because, like, normally a book is signed by the author, and I guess you can only really get, like, God to sign it, can't you? Or Moses.
That's right. That's right. He's yeah, that's right.
Do you know what would be a cool project, Tim?
Yeah.
To try and meet someone who has the same first name for each book of the Bible and get them to sign that page of the book of your Bible. So here's my friend Matthew, here's my friend Mark, here's my friend Luke and John. But then you'd have to find your friends with like more unusual names. Like there's a security guard at the Royal Society called Moses. Oh, but there's no book of the Bible called Moses.
No, the first 5 were said to be written by Moses.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
Although he dies in the latter one, so he's probably, it may be... The authorship is questioned at that point.
I guess because I make number file, you could get me to sign your book of numbers.
That's true.
Yeah.
I could do that. Which mean I would have to bring this large Bible all the way over to London. I have to say that this book, there are some pages that are ripped, and it sat in the, sort of bounced around in the back of a car, back in the Renault, actually, back in the day. So it's actually, it's very well worn, but it looks... there's a bit of a, if you've got a really well-worn Bible, that means you've been doing lots of reading, which is like really, really good.
Yeah.
This one's probably been worn as much through being sort of dropped and bounced around in the car as much as reading. It has had some reading, but there's certainly some pages when you open them, they're quite white. And then there's some other pages that are a bit more well-read. So... there's coffee stains.
So was this the one you'd go... Like, you know how in the West Wing, Bartlett gives the copy of the Constitution or whatever that his father gave him, he gives to Charlie. Is this the Bible that you would hand down? Will this be like the family Bible with its midnight oil sticker on it and gaff tape? And like one day will you pass it down to your daughters and say...
I'm not sure they'll want this one. Well, I mean, I guess I will. Like, it'll be just one of the things that they find and move on. But I'll probably buy them a nice one at some stage. There isn't actually the other ones here too. Hang on.
I knew I shouldn't have asked him about this.
No. Hey, no, I forgot about this. You know, when you talked about being sworn in as the president has the Bible.
Yeah.
This is the one I was ordained with. So this is my father's Bible, and he.
Is that what band stickers on the front of that one?
There's it's quite a way back, so it's got a like a big band from the 1940s. Yeah. Sticker on the front.
That's the Amsterdam Marching Band.
He seems to have 1964 written in here.
Yeah.
And then he's got something else stuck in here that says 1979.
Right.
So this is a King James version. When you're ordained as a minister, the church actually gives you a Bible as a gift to just sort of...
I would hope if they're ordaining you as a minister, you already had a Bible.
That's right. That's right. You'll need one of these.
Yeah, you should read this.
That's right. Well, they give it as sort of a moment. It's not that it's not, there's not a swearing ceremony, but you do take vows and then you're presented with a Bible as a special ceremonial thing. And I wanted to be presented with this one, my father's one, because he'd passed away and so forth.
Oh, so they don't even buy it for you? Like you give them the present to give you?
No, they do. They buy it for you. But because I said I wanted to use this one for sentimental reasons, they gave me a book voucher to buy something else at the bookstore. So actually, it was a win-win.
What did you buy with the vouchers?
Well, just some other theology book. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
you didn't go and buy something about like the history of the Rolling Stones or something?
No, that's right. Cash it in and went and bought some dinner. That's right.
They handed it to you, but did you have to put your hand on it and say, I promise to be a good preacher and stuff?
No. You do make vows, ordination vows.
But not with a hand on the Bible.
But there's no hand on the Bible. That sort of swearing in court kind of thing is actually not really traditionally a Christian kind of activity. swearing on the name of the Bible or in the name of God or anything like that. You just a Christian is a person whose yes is yes and no is no, and that's how it is. But
I wouldn't want to put my hand on that Bible that's been in the back seat of the Renault for 20 years.
There's been quite a few French fries sprinkled over it, that's for sure. I'll tell you what, my dad did a lot of underlining and little notes in his beautiful cursive kind of writing. I'll send you a photo of that too. It looks really lovely. And little highlighter pencils and stuff. Very, very neat. Whereas mine's just like a pen, like with a circle saying, like, remember this written. And it's like...
Do you ever look through that? Because quite often with, like, academic text, like I find this, like, in mathematical books and stuff, people love looking through them and finding out what famous people underlined and highlighted and found interesting. Do you ever look through your dad's old Bible to see what things he was underlining and highlighting to try and gain insights into him?
Yeah, I have done that before. I'm doing it right now as we speak. It's hard. It's more just for emphasis. He's got the one here, for the love of money is the root of all evil. And that's a very famous verse, and that's highlighted. So Dad may have been struggling with the love of money. Certainly not because he had a lot of it, that's for sure. Or maybe he was reading it and thinking of someone else that was loving money and underlining it, going, I'm glad I'm not like that. So you never know why it's underlined, you know. It could be because it's a strength or a weakness. But he was a very humble man, my dad, in these things. He was always seeking for God to shape his life. So
you have got your father's old lightsaber.
I do. I do.
Nice.
It's funny you brought up the lectern, though, because that's, or the pulpit, whatever you call it, and so forth. I do have two jobs. The other job at the college is a bit like this as well, where you think about when you're standing up the front teaching all day. We just did a big building program, and so you're thinking, okay, what do we want? Do you want a table to sit, or do you want to sort of stand with a bench, or do you want to have a bench to the side with a computer where you do the PowerPoint? So it's funny actually thinking through what's the most comfortable way to stand there and talk at a group of people and engage them for a couple of hours. At the church, we've got this really cool one coming. It arrives tomorrow, actually. So,
did you get the black one or the white one?
Got the black one.
Knight Rider.
That's right, totally.
Does it talk like Kit?
What?
That amused you?
That's awesome.
You should get a black one that's just got that red light on the front that just goes whoosh, whoosh.
Oh, that would be awesome.
While you're preaching. Seriously, I would come to your sermons if you had one of them.
I love the idea that I'd be in my office just relaxing, and then I could talk into my little watch, and then Kit, my lectern, just does the preaching.
It just comes to you. Quick, lectern, I'm at the side of the building. On my way, Tim.
Just if I'm out somewhere and I need to like suddenly do some public speaking, it's like, all right, Kit, come on. The lectern just comes and finds me.
You should call it Pulpit 2000, but with 2 T's at the end of pulpit.
The pulpit.
And there's today's T-shirt.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
I tell you what. If anyone thinks Tools of the Trade is not a good idea for a podcast, or people might struggle to talk about it, just listen to what happened to Tim then when I brought up his pulpit and Bible.
It's just... Well, there's the specific... I mean, the Tool of the Trade, I spend more time on, like typing into the computer than anything and dealing with people and all that kind of stuff. But there's always something niche. Yeah.
I did a video a while ago with a paper conservator. And we actually did a video about his tools. I said, show me your tools of the trade. And he showed me what he does. And most of the time with like niche jobs like that, you find something that's not even made for your job. Like I think he had like a letter opener that he got at a conference or something that was just perfect for one little job he has to do when he's separating pieces of paper from each other, and it was just the right width and just the right material, and he thought, this is perfect, this is just what I need. And like he sourced where the people at the conference got it was just like a corporate gift. Here, have our branded letter opener, but he bought like 5 of them because they were so perfect for the thing he wanted to do. And he has them like sitting in a special drawer in his desk because it's just what he needs. So sometimes you find this like improvised tool, but it becomes like so important to you. Hairdress. I love talking to hairdressers about their tools, like where do you buy your scissors and why do you choose those things and things like that. Plumbers must have cool tools and stuff as well. Model makers, people who what about people who like make train sets and do things with model railways? I bet they have cool little tools and toys and things.
I bought a model for the girl. Actually, I bought them both a remote control car each for Christmas, and they've been having a lot of fun with it. But putting it together, I remember the guy telling me you need one of these, which is like a special, and he was pointing to a row of like expensive screwdrivers, and I was just like, I said, do they come with one? And he goes, yeah, they do, and I thought, I got some at home as well. I'll be right. But after spending, fair bit of Christmas Day and Boxing Day and the day after putting them together and being frustrated, I eventually went back to that guy and I said, look, can I have one of those special screwdrivers? and he just sort of gave me a knowing look, and I went home with it with a few extra screws, that had been worn out, and I was able to tighten everything up just perfectly. And it's become like my favorite go-to screwdriver in the top drawer in the kitchen. I use it all the time because it's just like, it's got like a diamond tip or something crazy. I don't know what it is, but it just works for everything. Yeah.
I'm just imagining the first shopping day after Christmas. There's like a queue of 100 dads outside that model store all wanting to buy that screwdriver.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's actually a screwdriver store. He just uses the models as like the bait to get you in.
It's the gateway drug.
That's right. This $100 car is just a bait to sell these pretty cool $30 screwdrivers.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I've had a winning idea there.
That's good, man.
Although anyone listening will think my idea was called the Bible podcast. Where did you get your Bible?
Just getting back to that Bible, can I just say? I'm gonna look at my pulpit as kit. I'm so excited when it arrives tomorrow. It's gonna be my new kit.
Kit. Pulpit 2000.
Pulpit 2000.
Double T. Check out our Teespring store for more details.
That's right.
So, Tim, quick sponsorship message.
Yeah.
Do you know we have a new one? We have a new sponsor.
Awesome.
I don't think you will have heard of this company because they ply their trade in the United States of America.
Right.
But we can talk about them anyway. They are called Ting.
Ting.
Ting. Ting. Have you heard of Ting?
No.
You haven't?
No, I have not. I'm not in the United States of America.
What would you guess a company called Ting does? I'm just curious.
Ting.
What is it? It's quite onomatopoeic. Think about what it sounds like.
Ting.
It
could be it makes me think of jewelry for some reason, but it's not a very...
Jewelry? Yeah.
It's not a very jewelry word, but it sounds like jewelry.
No, it's not jewelry.
It's either selling a service or a product. Ting.
You're right. It is either selling a service or a product, like pretty much anyone who would sponsor a podcast. It's just a girl called Ting who wanted to get a mention on the show.
New elite Patreon supporter.
What if I say it like this? Ting.
A bell? Is it a website that sells bells?
Bell. You're on the right track with bells. What does bell make you think of?
Oh, does it sell phone?
Yes, phone. Cell phone service. They are the smarter choice for affordable cell phone service. Are you happy with your phone provider, Tim? I bet you're not, because I'm not.
Not all the time, I have to say. I have to be honest.
No. Well, Ting is all about trying to change that. So what they do is they give you a fair price for your talk, text, and data because you only pay for what you actually use. So if you don't use your phone very much or you're using the Wi-Fi loads, so you don't need to be using, your data and phone calls and text, you just pay for what you use each month. And there's no contract. You're not locked into anything. You just pay monthly for what you've used. It's not like pay as you go, but you just pay for what you use. So if you have a lean month where you're not using it much, you're paying a lot less. If you're anything like me, most of the time you're probably on Wi-Fi. Like we're doing this phone call on Wi-Fi. We don't even need to be using a phone plan for this, so you wouldn't be paying anything.
Nice.
So here we go. The key points: monthly bill just for what you've used. No preset amount. So there's not like you've got $50, and if you don't use $50 worth, well, you still got to pay $50. They don't give you any of that. No contract. Works on all telephones. It's going to work on your iPhones and your Galaxies and whatever the kids are using these days.
Yep.
Keep your phone number. You don't have to lose your phone number, which is really important.
Yeah.
So give them a look. I've got a web address here, Tim.
Yeah.
Unmade.ting.com. I'll also put that in the notes for the podcast. And if you use that, unmade.ting.com, the listeners are going to get $25 in service credit to give Ting a try. And because there's no contract, and the average bill for a device is about $23 a month, according to Ting, that means basically you're going to get a month of free service with no strings attached, which sounds to me like a pretty good deal. Unmade.ting.com. Go and have a look.
Go and have a look. American civilians, come on, help us out. Go and check out Ting.
Help yourselves out. Help yourselves out.
That's right. That's right. No wonder they're advertising with us, man. With a web address, unmade.ting. Or it's like no wonder they've gone looking for us. It's just crazy.
Yeah. They're like, if only there was a podcast called The Unmade Podcast, we could use this promotional landing page.
Yes.
We
may be their main strategy.
Unmade.ting.com.
Give it a go. Thanks, Ting.
Tell them Tim sent you.
That's right. Tim sent you.
And don't go asking them about jewellery. They don't sell jewellery.
No, they don't sell jewellery. Thank you, Ting.
And apologies for that ad.
One of the great, we're real madmen here, man, aren't we?
Madmen. We're the guy that got fired first day at the agency. All right, have you got an idea?
Can I just say that I was given some words by my offspring to use tonight, and one of them was avocado.
Are these when you have to cop in, like, you have to get in secret words that I don't know you used?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. And so,
have you been doing that since and just not telling me?
No, I forget all the time. It's terrible.
Okay.
Terrible that I forget. But they give me very difficult words. Like one of them tonight is avocado. Now, how am I going to slip avocado in there? So
no chance.
Very difficult. So anyway, we won't mention avocado.
Neither of us have used the word avocado.
Neither of us have used it. That's right. The other one though was jeans, and I thought, that's cool. I can slip that in somewhere. Jeans. By referring to my jeans.
Have you ever seen an avocado wearing jeans?
No.
Are they talking about, or do they mean jeans as in the jeans that have DNA?
No. I'm pretty sure she means jeans.
Denim jeans.
That's right. And I got thinking about jeans on the way down here because I was thinking, is there an idea in this to leverage off? And it got me thinking, I mean, maybe there is, because jeans seem to be quite personal to people, right? People seem to be very, they have a preference for jeans and I got thinking about the fact that I desperately wanted a particular pair of jeans when I was young. And I wonder if there's an idea in talking about your favourite ever pair of jeans, which people seem to hold on to and love for a long time. I had a pair of jeans I desperately wanted a pair of jeans when I was young, and I was thinking about the brand of what they were, and I was very influenced in my jean fashion as a child by John Bon Jovi. So these were very tight jeans, to say the least. Right. This is before we moved into the early 90s and jeans, became huge, like massive, ridiculously so, thanks to the Beastie Boys. But back then, I was more of a John Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
And so I wanted a pair of Fabergé jeans.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, do you know Fabergé? Are they still around or?
Yeah, I remember them, yeah. But this was before they got into making the eggs, right?
That's right. Well, I wanted these jeans so badly, and they were sort of very dark and they were very thin. And I remember the ad for them. And as I was driving along thinking about that ad, it was French, right? And it had these sort of really great-looking, funky French girls. And then I was thinking through the ad, I think it only featured French girls. And so now I'm actually wondering, geez, I really hope they were guy jeans that I was wearing back in the day.
Jeans can be kind of unisex, can't they?
Well, they must, except they have the button on the other side. And yeah,
that's right, yeah. So, and girls' jeans tend to have smaller pockets.
Do they?
Yeah, because whenever I see girls wearing jeans, like, boys can always slip mobile phones into their pockets really easily, and girls have always got, like, 90% of their mobile phone protruding out of the pocket of jeans, because of what they won't go in.
Maybe girls choose bigger phones as well.
Maybe. So you eventually got your Fabergé jeans, did you? Did, like, your mum or your dad buy them for you? Like, were you involved in the purchase?
Mum bought them. Dad would never buy jeans. Like, it was just, right. I don't know, it's not a dad job when you're young. But no. Yeah, I got them and I absolutely love them. Yeah. But I'm just thinking about how slender they were and how dark they were, and those French girls.
Well, you were a slender little boy. Like, you know, you couldn't. You were little stick legs.
Well, maybe that's right. I'm sure I look fabulous.
Did you look like Bon Jovi?
I did. Well, in the jean area, I did. Later on, my favourite jeans later on were ripped jeans. I had a pair of old jeans that I was allowed to like rip up and stuff, and I tore them enormously and let them fray.
You didn't buy them pre-ripped when they started having pre-ripped jeans?
No. Although I do see some of them around now.
How often would you put on ripped jeans and your foot would come out the knee area?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I kind of over-ripped some. This was getting more into Motley Crue territory, you know, like ripped seriously. Where you have to actually sort of lean them forward, like with your leg back, to slide them across the back. Otherwise, they get caught. Your toes get caught on every little rip all the way through. Right. I wasn't allowed to wear them out anywhere. So anyway, there's something around jeans. Did you have a favourite pair of jeans?
Well, the story I'm remembering, I'll have to delete names in a minute, but I'll tell you so you got the whole story. I remember going on my first ever date, and it was like a double date to Magic Mountain with who was my date.
Whoa.
And I went with and
nice.
So clearly it was going to be a wild night.
Yeah, that's right.
And
awesome foursome.
Mum decided I needed a new outfit. So we went shopping at Marion Shopping Centre, and she bought me these super tight, super marble wash jeans.
Wow.
And then like some puffy shirt that reminds me of the Seinfeld pirate shirt, which I tucked into the jeans nice and tight. And like, I can't remember what shoes I wore, but Mum obviously thought I looked amazing. I don't know whether it was just the era or my mum just didn't know how to dress a boy cool, but I thought I looked cool. In hindsight, I looked like a disaster.
Your mum had like an eye for fashion, though. She certainly does now. Was she always trying to trendy you up when you were young?
Maybe it was just cool for the time, and I'm just looking back at like the fashion of the day with some like cringiness. But I was quite happy to wear it. And I remember those marble wash jeans like are scored in my memory. I don't know. I've had so many pairs of jeans that it's hard to think of favourites. You know, jeans are like, I don't know.
Well, they are now.
I mean, how many pairs of jeans do you think you've owned in your life? I must have owned 50 pairs of jeans.
I guess so, yeah. That's a lot.
Are you wearing jeans right now?
I am not. I'm wearing a jean cut pants by sort of R.M. Williams. They're kind of like jeans, but they're a different kind of soft material. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you?
Fair enough. I am. I'm wearing Levi's 501s.
501s?
Just a new pair. I just bought. This is actually the third time I've worn them. I've just bought a new pair. I've been rebuying jeans at the moment. I'm buying a lot of jeans at the moment because I'm phasing out a bunch of old ones and bringing in some new ones. I'm changing my size and cuts.
It's a real transition.
Yeah, you catch me in the middle of a jean transition time.
A jean renewal. I buy jeans 2 at a time.
Right.
Because if I find something that works, and I'm like, I'll grab 2. That's great. Bang.
Yeah.
So they tend to fade in pairs. So they sort of hang together in the wardrobe. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple that are just for around the house.
Like Batman or something with all these Batman suits.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you reckon the Batman outfit fades? Like he has to get it like renewed because it like wears out at the knees and stuff.
Have you owned many denim jackets?
Yeah. I got 2 now. Yeah.
Right.
I had one when I was young, which I loved it so much. I felt like 10 feet tall whenever I wore it. But I got 2 now. I got a black one and a blue one. Yeah, I love it still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a denim jacket?
I don't at the moment. I haven't had many over the years. I ran a couple when I was younger, like probably ones that Mum bought for me. But a denim jacket, I don't know. It's not something I can imagine. Yeah, I've had a few. Now I think about it, I've probably had 4 or 5 over the years.
I remember you rocking a denim jacket at school on casual day one day, and it had a hood, which was kind of weird.
Oh, I remember. That's the one I'm thinking of. I remember that one.
Yeah.
It had like a bit of a sort of a fluffy interior too.
That was a bit strange. I don't remember it featuring in After School.
Didn't do it for you?
No. Was it retired early, was it?
Yeah, well, it probably was. I've never been a fan of the denim jacket, so obviously I was that day, but I've got a checkered history with school casual days.
There you do as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think school uniforms are good.
They are.
Because they take away the pressure of figuring out what to wear and making a fool of yourself.
For the years that we knew each other, we went to a private school, which in the UK is a public school, but, like with a uniform. But, of course, people may not know in other parts of the world that even in Australia, in the state schools, government schools and so forth, have uniforms as well, which is quite unique, I understand.
In the UK, a lot of state schools, you'll have uniforms.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Certainly on 90210, they didn't wear uniforms to school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
West Beverly Hills High would have been a different place if everyone was in like a school uniform. It wouldn't have been quite as cool.
I just assumed the school uniform was like t-shirts and jeans with the sleeves of your t-shirt rolled up to show off your biceps that these school kids seem to have in abundance. He says as he actually rolls up his t-shirt sleeves.
Is that what you're doing at the moment? You can't go too high. You can't go all the way up the top like a Bruce Springsteen. It's just got to be a few folds.
No.
To keep it cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Jeans podcast. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to say it's a bad idea because I think some people probably have got good jean stories to tell, but I don't. So, don't. I struggle to think of myself doing it, and therefore I also struggle to imagine wanting to listen to it. But I tell you what, you could probably make it like sustainable if you got a company like Levi's or some fashion companies to support it.
Yeah.
You could be on a good business idea at least for a podcast.
Well, so two things. A, I wasn't going to invite you on anyway.
Right.
B,
after that jacket I wore to casuals day with the hood.
This is a good idea for
That day at school, Tim looked at me and said, if they ever invent these things called podcasts where you talk about denim and jeans, and I end up making one about that, I'm not getting Brady involved.
No. That's right. You wrote yourself out of my future multimedia career. B, I think if you put it with a brand, that might cheapen it a little bit because it can be a bit like, hey, tell us this brand story. You know what I mean? Which kind of feels like it's the other way around.
You're right. You could create conflicts of interest.
Yeah,
If it's sponsored by Levi's and someone comes on and wants to talk about the girls' pair of Fabergé jeans they wore as a boy,
that's right.
Levi might not be happy about that.
That's right. Yeah. Name a third brand of jeans apart from Levi's and Fabergé.
Lee jeans in Australia. Australians all let us rejoice, for we wear tight Lee jeans.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Tight Lee jeans. That's right.
Yeah. There are all sorts of, Calvin Klein jeans.
Well, I guess they all do those. But in terms of who are known for their jeans, Levi have really got it down pat, haven't they? Like it's kind of their thing.
Oh, there are others, surely.
But who only make jeans?
Well, Levi's don't only make jeans themselves.
No. But it's
best now.
It's their primary product, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure they do perfumes now as well, but you're not going to buy a Levi perfume, are you?
No, you're right. They've done well. Levi's, Hats off to them.
Hats off to Levi's.
I doff my denim hood to them for the success they've had in business.
That's right. And thanks to Levi for sponsoring tonight's idea.
We've done a better job advertising them than we did Ting.
That's right. Can I just say as well, in terms of branching out into different products, I was buying my iced coffee on the way here tonight, and a total blasphemy. I go to the fridge and there's a new hazelnut version of Farmers Union iced coffee. Hazelnut. Oh, gosh. And it's got like an orange cover to the box. Is it still made with normal milk, or has it been made with hazelnut milk? Is it for people that don't want to use cow milk, or is it just hazelnut flavoured cow milk? I didn't know. I didn't touch it. I didn't go anywhere near the box. I couldn't do it. I didn't want to. Yeah.
Is there a point to that story then? Just that
that's terrible.
You saw something in a shop you didn't want to buy.
Well, talk about a classic product, and then they branch off into something stupid, and there's just a classic example of it right there.
Well, I was going to suggest you and I start a new spin-off podcast called the Hazelnut Unmade Podcast, but clearly you're not up for that.
That's right. It's all the same except featuring bonus hazelnuts.
Oh, I used to love the Unmade podcast, and then they introduced a hazelnut version.
I like most things. I'll eat anything, but I actually really don't like hazelnut. So it's just funny that my favourite drink in the iced coffee world adds the one thing that I don't like. Like the only other thing I don't quite like is lamb's fry. Yeah. They're probably going to bring out a lamb's fry Farmers Union iced coffee soon because it's just the classic pun.
Or a Collingwood Football Club iced coffee.
That's right. That's right. It's just wrong.
Denim hood iced coffee.
That's right. It's an abomination.
I used to love Farmers Union, then one day I saw them with a denim hood.
That's right. The other jacket I remember you wearing at school, it was a 49ers jacket. I was thinking about that with the Super Bowl the other day.
Yes, I remember having that 49ers type bomber jacket because I remember, obviously, my dad found some store in the city that was doing American football jackets, bomber jackets. Mm-hmm. And this was at a time when buying, like, American football merch in Adelaide would have been quite rare, I guess.
Totally.
And my dad said to me, "What's your favourite American football team?" And I wasn't particularly into American football at the time. I didn't know many teams. I think I only knew the 49ers, really, because they were the big team at the time. They knew, like, Joe Montana and stuff. So I said, probably San Francisco 49ers. So he got me that 49ers jacket, which I thought was pretty cool for a while.
Oh, yeah.
It was like black satin, like a shiny black satin with just a little SF 49ers badge on the front. And I think it had San Francisco written across the back.
Yeah.
It would probably be pretty cool now, actually, in a retro kind of way. So I wore that for a while, even though I wasn't too into the 49ers.
That started a whole black satin theme for you in the clothes area, didn't it? It went on for quite a while.
What? I'm trying to think. Okay.
Started wearing black satin pants.
I now get the joke. All right, I will let you go with that one.
No, I was wondering that. So you weren't a fan at all. It was.
No, Dad wanted to buy me one of the. There was obviously some store that had like a job lot of American football jackets or something, and he wanted to get me one, and he had told me to choose a team, and that was, I wasn't into the 49ers. I couldn't have named anyone other than Joe Montana as a 49ers player. It was funny though, when I started going to San Francisco a lot for work, the drive from the airport to where I was working used to go right past Candlestick Park where the 49ers used to play. It was quite fun after all those years to be going past their ground all the time.
Yeah. You said we had another sponsor. Is that right?
We do. Yeah, well.
Apart from Levi's.
It's our old favourite.
Ah! Ting! Again. No.
Ting have decided to sponsor us twice in one episode. It is, of course, Hover. Hover. Tim, you do know what Hover is.
I do.
Domain registration. The domain registrar of choice, hover.com/unmade. First thing I'm going for is Pulpit 2000 with a double T. Pulpit 2000. Is that available or has someone already got it? I feel quietly confident I'm going to be able to get this one.
Well, you've been quietly confident, but you're mentioning it on a podcast.
It's available. Pulpit2000.com with a double T because it's like kit.
Yeah.
Pulpit 2000. Kit was 2000, wasn't it?
Night Industries 2000. But the TT is the 2000. It's Night Industries 2000. That's what the double T is.
Ah.
So you can't... Oh, there we go.
Oh, so should I just be going pulpit with a double T?
Yeah. I think that's it.
I don't know what to do now. But I like the 2000 as a joke.
The Night Industries 2000.
I wonder if just pulpit.com is available with a double T.
Pulpit.org is.
It looks like pulpit.com might not be. No, it is available. Pulpit with just a double T is also available. Only $12.99. And you can own pulpit.com. Well, you could have, but Brady just got it.
Got it.
And I'm also going to get Pulpit 2000 because I just like the sound of it. Even though I know I shouldn't have the double T and the 2000. I just want Pulpit 2000.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Night Industries.
No, you're right. So
2000.
I'm basically saying pulpit. I'm basically saying 2000 twice there. But I'm happy to do it. In just a couple of clicks, those two domains are mine. And basically, if you've got an idea, if it's like, whether it's a good idea or a stupid idea like pulpit 2000, you really should consider getting a domain for it. If you want to register a domain, the easiest and best place to do it is Hover. Go to hover.com/unmade. If you go to the /unmade, so if you use that code, you're also going to get a special deal. You're going to get 10% off your first purchase with Hover. So, and you can also use the promo code Unmade. So if there's anything you're doing, if there's anything you might need a website for, get the domain now, even if you haven't got a website ready, and you can just hang on to it with Hover. When the time comes and you need to connect your domain, like the name you own, to the website you've made, that's really, really easy. Like Hover make it super easy. Even I can do it.
They are the Levi's of domain names, aren't they?
They're the Levi's of domain names. You could say that.
That's right.
I don't know. I think I think of Levi's as being like old, like a bit old school and cumbersome, and like I think Hover's a bit more like modern. It's a bit new on the block and doing it better. Not like, because like the old school domain registrars have a bit of a reputation, quite rightly, for being difficult to use, having bad user interfaces, being a bit dodgy with all your privacy and stuff. And Hover's sort of is like a reboot of the way that domain names get done. And they've gotten rid of all that baggage. So I wouldn't call them the Levi's of domain names. I would call them the Hover of domain names.
The Hover of domain. Well, we'll put it the other way. When Levi's aspire to be the Hover of jeans, that's another way of putting it.
I don't know. I don't know where you're going with that. I just go to hover.com/unmade and find out how good it all is. What should we do now? Should I do another idea? Another quick idea from me? I think so. Let me tell you about this article I read in the paper. So I read the story in the Times, and there was a woman who went to an art gallery in Stockholm, and she was looking at this collection of objects that had been collected by this English woman from beaches, in particular beaches like in the Canary Islands. She'd found stuff washed up on the beach, and she'd turned it into like, an art exhibition. Typical, arty idea, isn't it? And one of the objects that was in the exhibition was an audio cassette that this woman had found washed up on the beach. And the woman, the artist, had taken this audio cassette to like a sound expert and said, I found this old tape cassette washed up on a beach. Can you still play it and find out what the songs are on it? And this guy was able to use like audio restoration techniques and restore all the and listen to what all the songs were on the tape. It was like a homemade mixtape someone had made of their favourite songs. It had been at sea for God knows how long. Cool. It had washed up on a beach, and now it was in an art gallery. This tatty old audio cassette, and next to it was a list of all the songs that were on it.
Awesome.
And this woman in the art gallery just looked at it and thought, "That's just such a familiar combination." And she thought more and more about it, and eventually she figured out that this had been her cassette that she had taken on holiday to Spain, and had lost it on a beach. And it had washed out into like the Straits of Gibraltar, out into the North Atlantic, and then gone and washed up in the Canary Islands. And she'd been reunited with this tape.
That's ridiculous.
Because I know you're going to want to know what some of the songs are on it. So I'm going to tell you what they are, because they're 90 songs. Here is a selection of songs that were on this cassette.
Hang on. Before you get to the songs, hang on. How can you verify this? How do we know she's not just saying this? Like, that's unbelievable.
This is true. Because she was age 12 when she made the tape.
Right.
I don't know what the verification process has been. I'm taking it on good faith.
It is a cool story. Story.
And these stories do happen, But anyway, some of the songs, just because for you. Jungle Book Groove by the Disney Cast. Rock With You in a Circle. Do You See the Light? Snap. One Love radio version, Dr. Alban. Oh Carolina, radio version by Shaggy.
I remember that, yeah.
The Key, The Secret.
Yeah.
Glamorously developed edit. Urban Cookie Collective. It Keeps Raining, Tears From My Eyes by Bitty McLean. Go West, Pet Shop Boys. And I Can't Help Falling in Love With You by UB40. Which I listened to way too many times back in the day.
So that's 93, I reckon.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I think you might be exactly right. Yeah, she made the mixtape in it says in the article, she made the mixtape in 1993. And the reason one of the verification points you asked about was she still has a CD. She made the same thing as a mix CD as well and burned it onto a CD, and it's the exact same listing.
Oh wow! Okay.
And she still has that CD, so she was able to check the two listings side by side, and it was the exact same songs in the same order and stuff. So there's your verification.
There you go. It's not a great collection, but there's a couple of songs in there. All right.
It's not the one you'd want. Yeah, it's not the one you want to be remembered for, like my hooded denim jacket, but. You can't help what people remember. You have no say in who lives and who dies and who tells your story. So my idea for a podcast is for you and I to record an episode onto an audio cassette tape.
Yes.
Never release it. Throw it into the sea and see if it gets found 25 years later for people to listen to.
We have to make sure we keep a copy for verification purposes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be called the Lost at Sea episode.
That's a great. We're definitely doing that. In fact, let's use tonight's episode.
I don't know if Ting and Hover will be very happy about that.
That's a great idea. That is a great idea. Yeah. That'll be a lot of fun. Let's do that.
I imagine people are going to get a bit upset about me throwing plastic into the sea, but
hey, it's going to come back. It's going.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe wrapped around the neck of a sea turtle, but it's going to come back.
That's it. We'll compensate. We'll make sure that we pull out 2 cassettes from the ocean next time we're at the beach.
Yes,
for the one that we're throwing in.
Good idea. Good idea. And also, we'll abandon our plans for the other project we were going to do, which was going to be filling the Atlantic with 1 billion straws in an attempt to walk from England to America without getting our feet wet.
Well, what am I going to do with all these straws here now, man? I've got these boxes of straws.
We did go a bit trigger happy on the straw purchasing.
You come up with these ideas, and I have to do the legwork, and then, goodness God, I get stuck with the straws. Oh, dear. That is a cool idea. I do like that idea.
All right. Yeah, so people, next time you're out walking on the beaches, keep your eyes peeled for the Lost at Sea episode of the Unmade podcast. You could be the first and only person to ever listen to it.
Where are we going to... Are you going to throw it in like the Atlantic, are you? Or am I going to do it down here in the Pacific? What are we going to do?
I don't want to say. I want to keep the mystery alive so everyone feels like they've got a chance of finding it.
Oh, well, okay. I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's great.
It'd be cool to drop it in the sea, like somewhere interesting. Like I'm thinking either right above where the Titanic sank,
right,
or that point of inaccessibility, which is the point in the Pacific Ocean, which is the furthest point you can possibly get from land, and drop it at that point there.
Oh, right, okay.
Maybe the tape will end up in that famous, great rubbish patch of the Pacific Ocean where all the plastic ends up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's just like albums and albums and albums.
There's just loads of podcasts. Mixtapes.
It's like everyone's
I am
doing
aware,
it.
by the way, that is like little micro beads of plastic. I don't think that you go there and are going to find like a rubbish dump. People don't, there's no need to message me about the Great Pacific Rubbish Patch. I'm aware of what it is.
I can just imagine them at the UN trying to solve the major world rubbish crises. And they're just there going, it's crazy since the podcast is... Everyone's going nuts. There's stuff all over the ocean.
Yeah. Let's get a celebrity to drop it in the sea for us. How about that Greta Thunberg girl?
That's right. Yes, that's right.
She likes going on boats.
That's right. Perfectly positioned. Positioned.
Yeah.
That's great. This is a great idea. Are we going to seal it in anything? Or you reckon we leave it to the restoration abilities of future generations?
I think that's a job for the restorer. That's not our problem.
Are we going to include any 90s music in our version, man? Do I get to make a list? Is there...
You go ahead, man. You go ahead.
Cool.
And the cover photo is going to be me in that denim thing, that denim jacket. Right. And you in your girl's black Fabergé jeans. We're going to look so 90s.
I can still remember exactly where you were sitting. You were filling out something in homeroom in the morning. It was like like some form you had to fill out because you were school captain or something, and you were filling. Yeah, I just remember you sitting there.
Were all the girls looking at me kind of longingly?
No.
No.
Obviously, I was looking at you longingly because it's burned in my memory for some reason.
Exactly. All the girls were swarming around you, asking you where you got those fabulous jeans.
They're all going, snap. We've got... Tim's trendy. He goes to Sports Girl.
You got them at Sports Girl. That's the moment where you began to think, are these boys' jeans?
That's right. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a fantastic idea. Yeah.
Thank you.
I never thought, I would never have thought that throwing something in the ocean was a great idea. Except like a message in a bottle, which would be kind of cool. But this is like a message in a bottle, and it's...
I did a story about a message in a bottle when I was working at the Advertiser that had been thrown in the sea in South Africa and was found near Adelaide. Actually, it was found over on the York Peninsula.
Was it done for the experiment? Like, if you read this, I've thrown it in, or was it like a cry
contact
for help?
me? Yeah, it was like it was a school project. You know, if you find this, please contact me. So this boy in South Australia phoned the boy in South Africa and said, "I just found your bottle."
Oh, see that's a Brady news story right there. Like, you just love those little things, don't you? Those quirky news stories.
Yep, love it.
It's like,
love it. I want a map showing where it went, where it started, where it finished. I want a picture of the boy in South Africa, a picture of the boy in Adelaide.
That's right.
Great little story. Great little package.
The only thing that would make that story better is if it had been, the bottle had been thrown in space and it and somehow made its way to Adelaide. You're like, well,
we should be sending bottles into space with notes in them. That'd be really fun. I wonder how well they'd last in space, or whether radiation would fry the letters. Have you got another quickie idea for us?
I have it. It's a very quick one because I've just been, because we're moving house, I've been culling a whole bunch of stuff. And the other day I did a big cull on the bookshelf. So I pulled out one of the packing boxes and just threw all the books in there that I'm getting rid of. And they've just been sitting there for a week. So I was sitting there tonight with trying to think of an idea and all that kind of stuff. And I thought I'll do a lucky dip book that I want to throw away book. Right? So I reached down into the book and pulled aside other books with my eyes closed and all the rest of it. And I had one of my offspring, verifying this whole process. And I thought, I'll be interested what book I pull up and whether that's an interesting idea to have a book I'm throwing away podcast.
Yeah. Almost like a stay of execution for this one book.
That's right. Or maybe this one gets to stay just for random reasons. In the end, I pulled out two just in case, because the first one this is the first one I pulled out, and it's called Practically a Conservative. It's a biography of David Cameron, the former British Prime Minister. And this is I never read it. I perused bits of it and looked up stuff, but I never read it. And the other day I just thought, I'm not going to read it now. Like, why would I go back 2 prime ministers ago and read this now? So it had sort of a stay of execution, but it was, it's being thrown away despite not being read. So then I thought I'd try again. I thought, it's a political memoir, so maybe that's a bit dull. So I'll try again. So I felt around, closed my eyes, felt around again, and pulled out a book called What Happened by Hillary Rodham Clinton. So
that's quite a recent book.
And I read half of this and I got bored. Yeah. It's What Happened. It's the story of how she lost the 2016 election. So I don't really want either of these to get a stay of execution because they're sort of big, thick books that are taking up a lot of centimetres. Yeah. I don't want to keep them or read them, so I'm throwing them out.
Okay, so they didn't get a stay of execution.
No,
the government said, "No, you are going."
That's right. They've got, it's sort of like a false dawn for them. They would have been all excited, like, we're being saved, and then I'm going. I've come on air now to say, no, you're not. No, you're going.
What do you do? Do you give them to charity shops, or what do you do with these books?
I often take them down to local bookshop and just give them there. Sometimes I just throw them in the bin. Like, if I'm really annoyed with a book, I just throw it in the bin. Like the recycle bin, I should add.
But I'm just going to throw it in the sea. I wrap it in plastic and then throw it in the sea.
That's right. But I actually thought I've got a whole bunch of these, so I thought I might line them up, take a photo, and send it to a couple of friends around the place who might want to have them. What do you do with books that you're throwing away? Do you cull books and throw them away?
I don't cull them much because we've got like a big cupboard that we put books in. Once they lose their status as on display books, they move into this other cupboard, and we give them away to friends and stuff when they come over. If they're looking for books, people are allowed to raid the cupboard for books, but don't throw them away much. If I was, I'd take them to the charity store. Yeah. For raise money for the hospice and stuff like that. But
yeah. Sometimes I have some books at work. These are work books. Some books, sometimes if I change my mind about an issue, like I've read a book and then I'll later change my mind, I'll actually go back, find the book in order to get rid of it. It's like I don't agree with that thought anymore, so I don't want that thought represented on my shelf anymore. So you sort of...
Fair enough.
It's like a pruning kind of thing. But there are other books as well that are they're from early days, like when I was young and I had ideas about things and a book was really important to me. And even though I don't really agree with it anymore, or I don't, I just sort of think I don't need this book or anything, I kind of keep it for sentimental reasons in the sense that it was, my stage of thinking at that point. You know what I mean? Like I'm never going to
Books
look
are
at
also like, they're little memories and trophies, aren't they, books? They're more than just books. So sometimes they're a physical object that, has meaning to you, even if you don't open the pages anymore.
Yeah, that's right. They're pretty too. Like a bookshelf looks nice. Mm.
Yeah. So your idea for the podcast is what the ones that get this stay of execution then get discussed or reviewed or something like that on your show?
Well, the initial idea I think it might be is a book I'm getting rid of, right? So
why it's being executed.
Yeah, book podcasts are about the latest book. I'm reading this or we're talking about this and it's great. It's all about buying or borrowing a book. Whereas I kind of like the idea of it being the exit lounge. This book's going. Like, I don't want this anymore.
So in some ways, while there could be nostalgia, there could also quite often be a degree of criticism of the book. Because there's some reason you don't want it anymore. And the fact you don't want it implies it's probably a negative reason. So it could be, I didn't think it was very good. It was boring. I don't agree with it anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Or I vehemently disagree with it. Or this is a terrible book or something. I remember reading an interview with someone, I think it was Tim Friedman, the lead singer from the band The Whitlams. And he used the phrase, he says, if he's reading a book and it's not doing it for him, he goes, I throw it out in the street. And I thought that's such an evocative way of saying, like, it's actually open the window and just toss it out into the street. No, it's like, get out and stay out. I kind of like that image of books I'd throw out the window. Or just even for being boring or annoying. Or the like I was reading a novel recently and it was, the voice was so passive. And it's like, come on, give me something in the moment. Like it's just, you know what I mean? It's just like you're describing things that have happened before and it was not doing anything for me. I'll say it was Margaret Atwood, actually. And I was not enjoying it. Anyway, so...
I like it. Nice little idea.
Book. It's like an ex-book club, books that are that are on their way out. Just like David Cameron and Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton, yeah.
Who themselves have exited the political stage.
Thrown out in the street. So would you like to hear an idea from a patron?
Oh, I would, yes.
So... people, please do consider supporting the Unmade podcast on Patreon. If you would like to do so, go to patreon.com/unmadefm. Doing that helps us make more episodes. It also means your name appears on our wall of fame as a supporter of the podcast, and it also means you are able to send us an idea for a podcast that may be discussed here on the show, as we are about to do with this idea from Alan, who hails from the US state of Utah.
What's the spelling on Alan?
It is Alan.
Yeah, cool. Proceed.
Yeah, just checking on the double L, were you? Or the double N?
I was wondering if there was an E in, like Allentown.
No E at all. He is without E, is our friend Alan. At the time he wrote this, which was a while ago, so he may not still be there, but he was a student at Utah State University studying social work.
Cool.
And he hopes to one day be able to help people who are underprivileged or suffering from mental illness.
Oh, a legend.
To help pay for his schooling, he has been working at a company that creates electronics, but rather mysteriously, he says he cannot be too specific because a lot of what he builds is confidential. What do you think it is, Tim? Like spying stuff, do you think? Like,
no, undoubtedly.
Like James Bond? Like pens that fire bullets like James Bond or something?
Someone's got to make them.
Anyway. Someone does. Q mainly, but maybe Alan is helping as well. So it is at this mysterious spy pen gun factory that Alan does the bulk of his listening to the Unmade podcast. He takes episodes onto the production floor and he says he has to put them onto this dinky little MP3 player because he's not allowed to connect to the internet.
Oh, right.
So he rarely listens on his phone. This is just information. I'm just sharing it. He says, I sometimes get weird looks from my co-workers when I laugh out loud randomly, most notably when Tim referred to himself as a Tommy Ball princess. It wasn't until after I'd explained the podcast format and the specifics of the special for about 15 minutes that I realised I probably should have just said, my podcast is funny.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy Ball's a difficult premise to explain.
There's a few layers to be explained there. Anyway, Alan's idea for a podcast is called Balance. It would include a component where each week one host would focus on all of the bad and irritating things in her or his life and describe them in detail, complaining on the show, while the other host would focus on all the things that are good and right and beautiful in his or her life and report on those things. Each week the host would switch their assignment. It would hopefully lead to interesting discussions where each had the same experience but had two completely different outlooks, one with the silver lining and one seeing the dark clouds. It would be interesting to see the justifications each would have to make to paint each experience in a good or bad light. But I also admit that it would become mundane after each week we hear about another person cutting them off in traffic. Hopefully with the right personalities, it would work. Sorry that was a bit rambly. I love what you two are creating. From Alan in Utah. P.S. Please find enclosed a spy pen that shoots bullets.
Cool. It would be good if he was a spy because he could be Special Agent Utah, like in Point Break. That'd be cool.
Thank you, Special Agent Utah, for that.
Special Agent Utah.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be many people that make spy equipment that are going into social work, so good on you, Alan.
No. Or send emails with all their details. Oh, I should also point out Alan hasn't specifically said that he makes spy pens that shoot bullets. That's just what I like to think.
He works in electronics, which is
yeah. I've kind of taken the ball and run with it there.
What do you think of Alan's idea?
Yeah, nice. Like I like because obviously you can see a podcast format where one person's a moaner and one person's like really positive. But I like the idea of switching at each episode and like just completely, adopting that different personality each episode. It could be a fun listen, but it would also be a really fun one to make as a presenter, I imagine. Oh, today I've got to be a moaning Myrtle. Oh, okay, this week I've got to be a really positive, ray of sunshine. It would be fun to do.
I'm not usually known for coming up with good podcast names, right? But I think I've got something for this. This podcast could be called Glass Half.
Glass Half?
Glass Half. So one person's looking at it from glass half full and the other person's looking at it from glass half empty. The two sides of it. Okay, you don't seem to love that as much as Balance.
I don't.
Do you think Balance is a better...
No, I don't think Balance is a good name either.
Well, Alan and I will just go back to our spy pen work.
That's right. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, spy Alan. Agent Utah.
I really hope that Alan isn't actually in the spy pen work and he's just like his boss listens to this. It's like you've spilled the beans on the entire operation.
What have you done? What have you done?
The Tommy Ball princess, he just joined the dots. I didn't intend for it to happen.
Anyway, I did. I think that was a good idea, Alan. Appreciate your message. Thank you.
I do like the idea of switching, even on both sides. It's even maybe more interesting for a person to give both sides of it, of the story. I remember.
No, I like the idea of the two. I like the idea of one person just being upbeat and the other person being a real whinger, because that's a bit of a trope in podcasts, isn't it? That one person's quite positive and the other person's quite negative. But the idea of swapping at each episode would be quite.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be quite fun because you'd be like, oh, this is brilliant. I love the episodes where Tim's happy and Brady's sad. I don't like the episodes. Yeah, I don't know. It was certainly food for thought. And that's what we like from our patrons. Thank you for your patron support. Thank you for your spy work. Thank you for continuing to study to help the underprivileged and people with mental illness. And just, that'll do.
Check out Hover and Ting.
Check out Hover and Ting. He actually mentions Hover in his thing. He said he signed up to Hover already. So
wow,
he's already done Hover.
Alan.com was available.
Alan, now check out Ting. Check out Ting as well. Complete the set.